Hello and welcome to Freud Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Kinetic's brand new tooled 1/48 scale F-16A, also known as the NATO Viper. Again, this is their gold series, so it's completely different to the old one, shall we say. So I've done a review on the older kits turning away from Kinetic. They were always just a little bit clunky, shall we say. The detail was there, but it wasn't sharp and it wasn't refined. And yeah, I know a few people who tried to build them and had horror stories. I know other people have done amazing jobs with them. So anyway, this is one of the new tool ones, completely different. So let's face it, it's got a lot to live up to because it's going to go up against the Tamiya one. And the Tamiya 1/48 scale F-16, I think is going to be one of the best kits I've ever built. So no pressure, right? Anyway, down on the box you can see lovely bit of box art with intercepting a bear bomber just over there. There's a couple of F-16s. These are Belgian ones, I do believe. So again, it's a little bit of a all the way through here. So it's designed for the decals as well, but they are cartographed, which is really nice. As I said, it's got 220 parts in this particular one. Very nice indeed. Quick run around in the box, we can see. But obviously it's got some very nice details down in here. We can see the gear wells looking really sharp, the cockpit, and obviously the intake with the fan blades as well. Kit number for this one is K48100. So that's nice and straightforward. And a few of your marking options. So again, we've got various ones down in here. So we've got one based in Estonia. We've got one from Afghanistan down in there. We've got, well, lots of them. We've got another one from Kabul down in there. We've got the Danish one. And then we've actually got a nice Portuguese one over here as well. So some nice options down in there. So in the box, we are greeted by one bag by the looks of it. It's the usual way it is. So there we go, nice and straightforward. So we've got one bag tightly packed as well. So it's got separates inside. So that's not going to loose and roll around and all the rest of it. So that's good. So down in here, we are greeted by one bag with many parts. So let's have that one out of the way. So down in here, we've got the first one as well. So we've got top half of the F-16, different brake. Straight away, I noticed. Obviously, normally the Tamiya ones are all at the front and all the others. So this one's got the brake a little bit further back. All right, so that's interesting. So that's down in there. We've got lots of weapons and we've got targeting pods. We've got jammer pods as well. So lots of bits and pieces down there. We've got the clear parts, which are nicely packed in the middle. So that's very nice indeed. And then we've got one big bag with lots of multiple parts in there, which I'll probably give a look at as well. So as always, we'll start in the old instructions and hopefully find the decals in a minute. So down in here, pretty much as we might imagine, looks like color callouts are all in MIG this time. So you're going to have to get your conversion charts out there, but it's pretty much sort of standard NATO colors or US colors for all the interiors on F-16s anyway. So anyway, basically, it's talking down in here about, obviously, we've got the various parts going on for the actual cockpit, putting all the bits and pieces in there, pretty standard. And then, obviously, we've got the first part of the actual intake system running down to the first compressor blade of the actual engine wheel well section going together down in there as well. And all the details being added in, which is pretty much what we'd expect with the F-16 family. Then we've got the rear nozzle being fitted down into here as well. So being the NATO, I think this is the Pratt & Whitney, is it engine? Rather than General Electric, not sure, one or the other, down in here. So anyway, going down into the intake system. So we've got that forward part of the intake wheel well being fitted down into there. That splitter that sort of comes down and hangs down between there being fitted into that one. Don't forget that, because it's a pain to put in afterwards. All right, and then the usual things, a couple of holes to drill out, things like that, right the way through. Then on the other side, we've got the various parts, cockpit being fitted into the top part down in there. And then obviously it's talking about color callouts, which is a little bit odd to be doing them right now, but there we go. It's for detailed parts anyway. Some little holes to open up down in here as well, and removing some of the parts. So obviously on the sort of the NATO version, if you like, it doesn't have these warning receivers down in here at the front, so they've got to come off. And then obviously all the parts being fitted down into here, and then there's a couple of little holes to fill as well for the extended flare and chaff buckets, obviously not on this version as well. So we're expecting perhaps a standard sort of CJ versions coming down the line as well. It'd be nice to see a DJ. So anyway, various parts going down into here as well, putting the gun on, HUD's fitted onto this one, and then the rear and front parts being added. And again, it's an interesting way they've done this. So it's not that usual one about let's break it at the front here, because that way you could just put a front end onto it and do a two-seater. So it's further back here, so that entire front end, if you were to do a two-seater, would have to be the wings as well. But anyway, interesting choice. Infills into the back areas goes through, so hopefully there'll be a nice good clean fit in there, a couple of ones to go on, and then obviously we've got the standard side covers as well for the F-16s being fitted there. There's a couple of holes to fill various things and put into lights. Those ones going down into there, and then usual things underneath. Engine being fitted, engine cover going down into the back, and then lumps, bumps, and all goody bits being added onto this one. And then main gear, so we've got the lights being fitted to the done, and for the front wheel well, and then obviously door, and then we've got the gear being fitted, and then obviously all of those parts being done and dropped in as well. All right, so I assume that's already in there. Then you're going to be putting these parts inside it. All right, so that's with those all in place and everything. Main gear being fitted down into there. A couple of little bits to say colour call outs as you go, and then obviously the workings, lumps, bumps. We've got some of the cooler doors being fitted down into the back, and then right the way through. We've got the tails, the little ventral fins down the bottom being fitted on there, the tail hook being fitted down in there as well, and then we've actually got the seat, which makes change to be doing the seat a little bit last, but there we go, seat being fitted in, internal details into the canopy, really nice, so it can be shown open or closed. Another nice touch as well, we've got the nose can be opened up, showing off the radar as well, so that's very nice down in there. Tailplanes and all the bits and pieces being done, and again looking at the way the breakdown it is, we can expect perhaps the longer housings or short housings on the tail as well for the brake chutes, so that's nicely done in both of those versions, and then obviously seeing which one you want to do. Then it's just a case of bringing it all together. So tailplanes, flaps being added onto this one. They are, looks like, positionable as well, so you can have it with the flaps, or they're aileron flaps as well, being fitted onto these ones down in there. And then again, same, you've got options as well for the launching rails on the outsides. So again, some nice little options down in there for both versions. There's the decals. Then we're just down into the weapons fit. So we've got the triple ejector racks being fitted down onto this one as well. So it's a nice touch. And then we've got all the other pods down in here. So it looks like we've got some of the old lantern pods, and then we've got the more modern sniper pods. And then obviously we've got the various ones like Sidewinders, Sidewinder X's. We've got the long, what's that, the 3-band channel ALQ 184 system as well, so you could cut that down to the short version. AIM-120s, and then we've got fuel tanks as well. We've got the center tank, and then we've got GBU 12s or 24s, and then right the way through. Little chart here showing your actual weapons, where you can locate them and where they all go down in there. And then again, it's talking about the pylon layout, so you can see it over here for the guide and what type of weapons fit you would have down in there. Some more detailed stuff for the weapons painting guides, things like that as well. Very nice job right the way through. And then obviously you've got your painting guides down in here for the different ones you're actually going to be doing. So you've got the no-fly zone jets down in here, or obviously ones that have been in Afghanistan as well. Again, it's that standard gunship grey on top, pretty much all the way through. So yeah, actually looks very, very nice. You've got some nice options in that kit right the way through. Decals, as you can see, we've got lots of different decals down in here, and they all look very nice indeed. So again, you've got all those lovely walkways. We've got the different types of the refueling points at the top there, and then we've actually got the markings right the way through underneath here. So you've got some nice different options down in there as well. Really nice in the Portuguese one. You don't see that very often. And then again, we've got the ones for all the weapons. So that's that sort of standard weapon decal call out right the way through. So really nice with those. Let's keep those nice and safe. There we go. Okay, into the fun stuff. So just move those. To start with, let's go back in time to the main event. And again, this has got big boots to fill, so I'm not going to do a direct comparison, but you get the sort of idea with it. So what we got down in here is obviously the top and then the lower parts down in here. That's very nice indeed. So yes, we're seeing we've got both types down on this one. I'm just trying to work out why we've got two of these and the differences between them. I'm sure somebody can tell me, because they look pretty much identical to me. So this is just the tops of the rear part, you know, around here. The tail goes on the top here, down in here. I'm just wondering why you get two and what the differences are. I assume it's got different panel layouts or something, although I can't imagine why. So yeah, interesting. Just can't see it. Anyway, there we go. Take your picks. The nice one is this one. So what we've got here is actually a very nice, highly detailed F-16 now. Whereas before it was always just a little bit clunky, this is really sharp, definitely on par with the Tamiya one. The only thing that stands out straight away is the F-16 at rest this front edge slat slightly tilts upwards, and obviously it can be in the down position, but they've molded it completely neutral, which is a little bit odd unless you're in flight. But so that is one thing that would be nice. You're going to take these off the front anyway, because obviously the NATO ones don't have this. So that's it. It has got the bird shredder on the front, but generally all the detail is very nice all the way through. Good, clean, crisp, sharp now, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Cockpit, obviously really important, is a little bit lacking. If I'm honest, it's all here, and it's nice and crisp and sharp, and it's probably to scale, but for painting wise, it's going to be a little bit of a pain to get in here and do it and all the rest of it. So I can see an aftermarket one dropping in there, no problem at all. But it's all here. It's just that it's a little bit, yeah, you have more sticky up bits than that. When you look at the Tamiya one, you see how that one's done. I think it's done a little bit nicer. All right. Generally though, pretty darn good. And again, on the underside, you can see here, you've got this fillet, which is going to come in here and go through, which is my only worry, is this join here of having it put in this way. But again, each to their own. All right. So on the underside, we were looking at it here. You can see very nice, nice, clean, crisp all the way through. Looking very nice indeed. And again, this is this two tops of the tails, which honestly I can't really see. Apart from the tiny little difference is this guy's got a little, we catch it in the light, there we go, he's got one there, does not have it on this one. And this one is obviously rounded off on the top. All right, here, this one is squared off. Seems a weird way of doing it, but hey ho, I suppose for accuracy's sake, it makes it very nice indeed. The rest of them look identical. So there we go. I'm glad I found that, otherwise it would have bugged me. This is your underside. Again, you know, if you were doing it for air shows and you wanted to do it as a clean jet, and let's face it, some of the NATO countries do amazing, colourful air show birds. You probably want these to be done and then you open them up if you need them. That's just a little critique. It's nothing big. But I would prefer to open up my own holes, because otherwise I've got to fill them if I'm doing any of the show birds and things like that. So yeah, and then last up, we've just got these two tails. Very nice indeed. All right, so if we try and make a space. Okay, down into the big parts down in here. So we've got another bag down in here with 3 sprues in. Excuse the rustling. So 4 sprues in, so we've got a match pair, which I did wonder about, which are done just like this. Again, so we'll look at those in a moment. For the main one here, we've got various tails. We've got, yeah, pretty much everything you'd sort of expect. It looks very nice. So this is sprue D. And I say, starting at the top, we've got the nose. We've got one of the tails just down in here, one of the many tails. All right, and then obviously we've got the central bit for the main gear. This goes between the main gear. We've got the central tank with a nice sort of cupped edge, because obviously the AOA on landing is quite strong on an F-16. More different tail planes down in here. So in here we've actually got some of the cockpit detail. So you've got the standard 2 sort of, you know, CRT displays each side, and then you've sort of got that funny one in the middle for the compass as well. So that's down in here. Top of the actual instrument panel. So this is where the HUD goes and the bits and pieces. That's really, really nice. The tails look all very good. Actually, it looks really very, very sharp. All of these small details, as you can see, looking very much to the part. We've got some really nice detail down in here in the wheel wells. That's very nice. Then over here, we've got some parts which are going to make up your tail. And then again, we've got off the rudder, we've got the static discharges at the back. And then we've got all the small parts up here as well. So we've got the gun vent down in here. So we've got another F-16 over here, which actually is the older version. So we've got the single CRT display and nothing on the other side. So again, we've got 2 types of instrument panel in here. We've got the more modern version over here with 2, and we've got the older version down in here with 1. So that tells me a few things for other versions. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. And also, I don't know if the NATO Vipers have this. This is the, and I can't remember what it is, but it's for the HARM anti-radiation missile system. It basically tracks where they are and then sends the missile on its merry way. So there we go. Again, nice touches. We've got the wheel well down in here. Beautiful for that's for the nose one. Little thing for the radar as well. Nice detail on the front of that one. I think they're all going to be having ESA radars soon. That actually doesn't look too bad at all. Some very nice details, both sides. Again, good, clean, crisp. All the parts very nicely done. These small, tiny little aerials and things down in here. Beautifully done. Nice and sharp. No problem at all. Also, again, very little burring on this. There's hardly any burring on the mould at all. So that's a really good high quality pull on that as well. So it's not like it's having problems getting out the mould or anything. That's good. Okay, so straight in over here, we've got the tails. And again, that's a little bit of a disappointment. We've got some sink marks in these. So it shouldn't sink in, I don't think, quite like that. I take it these are quite thick. Yeah, that's the trouble you've got. When you're going to be doing thick parts like these are, for realism, trouble you get is you get a little bit of sink marks in here. And that's a real shame, because actually I spotted that straight away as I got it out of the bag. So again, a little bit of a issue with those ones. Not anything massive, but yeah, it would be nice if they were slightly straighter, shall we say. And again, gear doors, very nice as well. So we've got both types of gear doors as well, which obviously tells you for the later version with the bigger tyres. And then obviously we've got the normal ones as well. So there we go, we've got both ones of those. And again, exhausts, all the details for the gear. First stage compressors, we've got the inlet mouth. Obviously this is I think it's called the small mouth version, because it's got the wide one for the other engines. But yes, very nice indeed. Over here, we've actually got a match pair. So these are exactly the same, because obviously it's left and rights and things like that. Also, it's opening up for, I'm hoping, a two-seater version, because we do get two lots of seats. But here we are on Sprue F. And again, we've got all the pylons, we've got the weapon mounting points, some of the smaller details right the way through. We've got the wing tanks being fitted on. We've got two lots of seats. We've got the launch rail, so you've got the small one and the big ones. Down in here, we've got your wheels. And obviously, as you say, you've got your tyres, the different types as well with the different hubs. So that's actually very nice difference as well. And some tiny little ones over here. So again, I'm thinking we're going to be seeing other versions. Nice, we've got pretty much hidden ejector pins just down in here. They're right at the top. It's going to go behind the blade, so you're not going to see. So this is all nice and clear, so that's good. Tailplanes. And again, static discharges hanging off the back. Don't break those off because they're all right pain to put back. So yeah, very nice indeed. So we've got two of those. Okay, so last big bag we have. Okay, so we've got another match pair because we've got weapons. So this is really just all the weapons bits and pieces down in here. So basically you've got your JDAMs, you've got HARM missiles as well, you've obviously got your GBU-12s and all the other ones down in this one. And again, we've got different types, some very early Sidewinder heads as well, and obviously the later ones right the way through, and then the Sidewinder X's. So yeah, different types of ones down in here for all your Sidewinder family. So that looking pretty good. AIM-120s, all your fins, all your launch rails, you could actually want with all of those. That's very nice indeed. Again, you get two of those. Then we got down in here, so we've got the old Lantin pod, this new sniper pod as well. And again, we've got the jammer pod as well, just down in here. So that's very nice to see those. So again, you've got options all over this kit. And it tells me we're going to be seeing other versions, which I'm quite excited about, especially a two-seater. So again, canopy is beautifully done. Actually, I was looking at that. That's actually really nice. There's no center seam in that at all, which normally if you don't get a center seam, it has a wobble. But hopefully we'll do the old wobble tet across the cutting mat. You can see how clear that is. That's actually really very, very nicely done. The only thing is, normally they're tinted. So the front end one is tinted, perhaps not the rear, but usually the front has got a tint onto it, but this one hasn't. So that's going to be a little bit of a pain because it's always that thing that how do you tint the canopy? Anyway, never mind. We've got it just down in here. All the clear parts are obviously all the HUDs, the pods, the various bits and pieces, the navigation, lights and things like that, your anti-collision lights and stuff. So that's all beautifully done. But actually that's very, very nicely done indeed. There we have it. Am I disappointed? No, I'm actually quite excited about this one. It looks really, really good. There's a couple of issues, which obviously we've pointed out, but, you know, generally, I think overall it looks very, very nice indeed. There's lots of options, and I'm quite excited because going through this one, this is an A Viper. There's a C in here as well, easily, with all the parts that we've got. And then hopefully we will see the two-seater versions as well. So it'd be nice to see a D, you know, the DJ and the CJ versions of this come out. Perhaps we're going to see different nozzles and intakes as well, so we can have both types of engines with it. It's going to be sort of following along to what we get with Tamiya. But obviously starting here with the NATO one is in an A, Tamiya don't do it. So this, I can completely understand where they come from. And then, but said, hopefully we'll see two-seat version as well. But it's really nice to have a bang up to date, really nice A. So we can do all the NATO type ones and all those fantastic air show and special schemes as well, because there's absolutely tons of them and they're all absolutely perfect. So yeah, it'd be really nice to start getting those coming along with this particular kit as well. Anyway, there we go. Enough from me. This is Kinetic's 1/48 scale F-16A NATO Viper.